Talk to us about your outlook here. You're outperforming the street's expectations 4 quarters in a row. What do you attribute this to?
Yeah, so thanks, Emily, for having me. Overall, there's sort of three big mega trends that enterprises are dealing with right now. The first is the continued push toward hybrid work. The second is everything is going digital first, even as we come back into offices and as the world starts to open up a bit more. And then finally, cybersecurity challenges and compliance risks are at the center of what every organization is facing today. So when you think about those three big mega trends, the way that companies work with their content, these are their financial documents, their contracts, their marketing assets, their most important and sensitive intellectual property in their enterprise. All of the ways that companies work with that content needs to be shifted and changed to be able to support those three big trends of people being able to work and collaborate from anywhere, being able to automate workflows around content, be able to keep it protected and secure. And so we're fortunate because we've been building a platform for now over 15 years to build the leading way that companies can manage and secure and govern their most sensitive and important data in the enterprise. And that's what has both allowed us to deliver 4 quarters of accelerating revenue growth last year. And we believe many years to come as we put out our new 3-year guidance or target model just this afternoon.
You fought off a pretty bitter proxy battle at the height of the pandemic, and I'm curious what impact that's had on you. Has it influenced strategy and how you map out and predict future growth?
Yeah, so at the start of our kind of activist journey, we partnered with our investors generally and laid out more aggressive both top line and bottom line targets to really drive the future of the company. And I'm really proud of how the team and the company delivered on those targets in the past couple of years, especially last year. I think going forward, you're going to see us take a very, strategic look at how we drive growth in the future. You're going to see our multi-product strategy and our content cloud portfolio really driving our growth rates in the future. At the same time, we think profit and driving increased profitability is going to be important. It has allowed us to build a much more durable financial model that certainly in this market is, I think, holding up very well. And that will continue to be the case over the next few years and beyond.
Now, we've been talking a lot about the war for talent. You and I spoke at almost the beginning of the pandemic, and you acknowledge it's going to be hard to get people to come back to the office at all, especially engineers. And I'm curious what you're seeing. I know you're just starting to reopen your offices across the country. Do people want to come back? Are they actually coming back? And how is the working world going to forever be changed by what we have experienced?
Yeah, no, the world is fully changed. There is no going back to kind of pre-2020 ways of working. That being said, there's a lot of demand both within Box and certainly peer companies that we talk to for those that live near offices to come back in occasionally or more frequently, depending on the individual, as a means of being able to see colleagues in person and be able to kind of catch up and do some of their work in person, whether it's a brainstorm or in a conference room, or even being able to continue to work in their traditional environment. That being said, we know that hybrid work is the future. So things are not going to look like they were 2 years ago, where everybody kind of came into the office every day, 5 days a week. At the same time, I think things will be not as remote only as they have been in the past 2 years. And so the future is hybrid. And at the center of enabling a hybrid strategy is cloud technology and being digital first in how you operate. And so for us, that's going to mean that more of our meetings continue to be fully virtual. That's going to mean that we continue to stitch together the work that we're doing globally using the cloud, whether you're coming into an office or working remotely. And I think that's going to be the case for most companies going forward. And certainly as a platform provider, we think that's going to create a huge opportunity for us to innovate for customers in this new hybrid workplace where you want to be able to share and collaborate on your most important digital information, whether you're doing that from home or doing that in an office. And that's obviously the platform that we're building out.
Now, the question is, how hybrid is the work world going to be? San Francisco, for example, some people say it's a ghost town. I saw a raccoon walking down the sidewalk in the middle of San Francisco in the middle of the day. True story.
To be fair, I saw that raccoon before the pandemic. So
okay. But does San Francisco recover? Do we get back to the vibrant city filled with tech workers that it was before?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I live in the peninsula, so I can't, I'm not the best proxy for the latest goings in San Francisco. I was there last week, and at least outdoors, to me, it felt pretty similar to how things have looked in the past few years, even before the pandemic. It was, a lot of bustling around the city. But that being said, office buildings are clearly not at capacity. People are not coming back into the office every single day, and that does have probably an impact at some point on the feel of the city. So I can't predict what SF specifically is going to look like. What I do know is the future is hybrid. Different companies, different cultures, different teams, and different individuals will likely land on a different cadence or rhythm as to how often they want to come back into an office or be fully remote. And so I think we're going to all have to get used to not thinking of this as sort of a binary outcome of you're either fully remote or you're fully in person, but instead one where things are going to be hybrid and companies are going to exist on a continuum around how much of their work is done remotely or fully digitally, and how much is done in person. But no matter what, ultimately you're going to need to be able to stitch that work together using the cloud, and that is a guarantee for the future.
How concerned are you, Aaron, about the macroeconomic outlook right now, given a war happening on the other side of the world, but impacting everyone in the world?
Yeah, I mean, we're an interconnected society and economy, and obviously the invasion of Ukraine is a huge tragedy, obviously on a human kind of life and impact level. It obviously does ripple economically throughout the world, to varying degrees, probably based on the industry that you're in. And I'd say it's probably too soon to sort of try and model or predict anything about what that looks like. But right now, our focus is, anybody at Box with Ukrainian relatives or that's impacted directly by this, just making sure that they're in a good spot to the extent possible, and that's sort of our focus. But I think it's premature to sort of try and model too much of the long-term economic impact of this.